Hey guys, so this is part two of my reaction. So this is episode 9, which is titled The Drop. Now, as you guys know from the previous episode, Squad Zero, best known as the Royal Guard, they came down, they started helping our team. Um, they told Ichigo, Renji, Byakuya, and Rukia, they took them to the Royal Palace, which we got a little glimpse of the Royal Palace. It is very extravagant, it is luxurious, and that each of the Squad Zero members have their own city or their own. It's like a own version of the society themselves, which is pretty insane of how big the royal palace or the royal ground is. From what I realized, the royal palace is in a different atmosphere than the soul society, even though they're in the same realm area. They're in their own stuff. um it's a lot of responsibility now that they have. And even for Urahara said that he told Ichigo that for once he needs to think about himself instead of just you know worrying about everybody else. And that's kind of like fitting for what Urahara would say for Ichigo to progress further on. I think that's a pretty cool thing. Another thing I think that's pretty cool is that um, Sunsui is becoming one of my favorite characters already, especially his development. He initiated the entire understanding of what does it mean to be a squad captain, and it seems like he's taking reins of the responsibility as head captain already, which is pretty insane. Because I think prior to that, Captain Yamamoto always seen Utakate and him as his like sons, because they're like the first captains to ever graduated out of the academy, and they're also one of the oldest ones too. So it was four of them. It's Captain Yamamoto, Captain Urahana, and Captain Shunsui and Captain Utakate. These four are the oldest captains in the Soul Society. Like they predate a lot of people. Mind you, 100 years ago in the back pendulum arc, Sensui was still captain. A lot of people were still captain, which is pretty insane. So now this is episode 9, which is titled The Drop, and I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. And also I like to forget that Squad Zero is now aiding the rest of the captains, especially the people that they took to the royal palace. The Korenji guy, Tenjiro Korenji, that I think that's his name. They call him the Hot Spring Demon, which is I freaking love. He has these abilities, these healing abilities that are unnatural. He takes one of our characters into like this white hot spring, and then put them in like this thing called blood hot spring, and he just keep interchanging them until they get healed. And from what he said that no wonder the Soul King is very fond of Ichigo, because one fracture of his hand should have obliterated, um, Ichigo and his friends, but that wasn't the case. So I think from what I'm seeing right now, they're gonna keep moving to different cities of the Soul Palace to learn something. So the first one was to heal them and to make sure their body rejuvenate and strength to get stronger. So now from what I'm seeing, they're heading to the next palace, which looks like it's Miss Hikafune's palace, the Daigen palace. So let's watch it, guys. I don't want to talk too much. Let's watch episode 9, which is titled The Drop. Now, if it's up to me, I might combine them or I might keep them separately as it is. So let's watch episode 9.
Captain, if you were in here, you might at least have answered.
No. I'm afraid this may be goodbye.
Whoa. Oh, yes, if I'm not forgetting. So from then on, I think he had a letter from Captain Yamamoto personally. In case something were to happen to him, he appointed Shinshui as head captain, which is a big promotion, you know. And I think he made the right choice because a lot of people were like, wait a minute, out of everyone is Shinshui? But you gotta understand, Shinsui is one of the oldest captains, and he kind of know how politics, the Mukin, Central 46, all these places, he kind of know how it runs. Because I think Captain Yamamoto has taught him how to run or govern a squad. And I think he always had faith in Shinsui and Utatake to take over.
Well, you flunked that test, you idiot! Didn't you ever take a bath when you were a kid? Didn't your parents teach you that you can't get out of the tub until you've counted to 100? What are you? What the hell was that for? Yep, you're healed.
Huh?
If you weren't healed, that last punch of mine definitely would have killed you. Take a look.
You're right.
Looks like my work here is done. Time for me to send you on to the next stop.
The next?
Wait for me!
You see?
I gotta tell you guys, these guys are pretty powerful. And mind you, Korenji is one of the royal guards, and he said that just one of his hits should have like turned Renji and Ichigo into smithereens. So the fact that they could hold on right now seems like they're leveling up, because where they are, it's like Sage. I don't want to reference Naruto, but it feels like where they are is like Sage energy for the Shimigamis. Like everything is feel more sensitively higher.
I'm still standing, aren't I?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. I knew they had potential, but not that kind of potential. Especially that Ichigo kid. Little punk. Not only did he survive that punch I threw at him, he blocked my fist out of pure reflex. He fractured it. No way.
Moving on to more important matters. Namely, my plans for...
And like I said before, he know how to run politics in the Soul Society. I always wanted to mention this. Like, I know I'm cutting things more. Did we ever get a background of like the whole structure of the Soul Society? Because we know the Soul Society is comprised of different barracks. It's also comprised of like the giant dome that we saw before in the very first episode that kind of like shield the Soul Society. But the Soul Society have like these different pockets of places. That's interesting to me. That's very interesting. But let's see.
For Kenpachi Zaraki.
Whoa.
We're gonna train him and teach him Zanjutsu.
So now that he's head captain, he asks Central 46 that based on the state of everything, they're planning on teaching Kenpachi Zanjutsu, which is the art of swords, if I'm not mistaken. You guys could correct me. So the last time we saw that is when he was fighting what's his name? One of the Espadas, Noritora, when he said that he was still learning this from like Yamamoto, and that one swing of his sword could be enough to cut Noritora, which he did. Like, he just focused all his energy on one thing and just... That was like a normal slash. So they're gonna teach him that. And mind you, he hasn't even have a Bankai yet. Like, that's even another thing too. Like, Captain Yamamoto has a Bankai. Kenpachi doesn't have a Bankai at all. I don't even think we even seen a Shikai from him.
What? We stopped the training when we saw how dangerous he was!
What do you suggest, then? In its current state, the Soul Society will never withstand the next invasion. And I certainly don't. I can rely on you. Can't I, Captain Unohana? Or should I
So
say...
she's going to teach him Zanjutsu? Yo, I always liked her design. Like I always said, like out of all the captains, she always felt like she's the closest to Yamamoto. Like they both were like the senior of the group, and like I always felt like her rank where she sits was something special. I know in the Chinese or Japanese numeric numbers, four also means death, if I'm not mistaken, and that her rank as captain, she's the fourth squad member. And she always felt like she's so dangerous, but she's so relaxed. Like she looks like she's like the final defense in case something were to like go really down south. So I may be right.
The first Kenpachi, Yachiru Unohana.
She's the first
Lucky
Kenpachi.
thing
Wait,
he-
but that would explain. Isn't it like we've seen previous Kenpachis before? Because we heard from the back in the story that Kenpachi killed that Kenpachi to become Squad 11's Kenpachi out of like swordmanship, like a duel. So does this mean that she did the same thing, or she was always the Kenpachi? And how do a Kenpachi is chosen? I think we're gonna get more about that. This is insane, but yeah, they got into the next Gaiden, which is the second palace.
He came along with his finely tuned body
Is
and
that
wasn't
Khan?
made for crash landings.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Break
Don't
this
you even
fall,
know
you-
Ichigo! Renji! I'm so glad you boys could come! Welcome, welcome to my humble gato den. I am going to take such good care of you. Get ready for the tummy! Content and maybe a
Yum.
little more. So hop to it, boys! Chow down! I know you must be starving after what you've been through.
Damn.
We've got
This felt like a Dragon Ball Z episode, because you know how Goku likes stuffing his face on everything he eats? This felt like a Dragon Ball Z episode. And on top of that, Hikifune is cooking some delicious ass food, and that I think those food has a purpose.
to rebuild our bodies and our spirits if we want to be ready for the tough training ahead.
And they're like the Supreme Kais of Bleach, because each of them has their own palace, like their own separate universe cities. And then at the very center you have the king, the Soul King, which last episode we saw he awakened. So I still think he looks like a bug though. He looks like a weird cross between like a bug and different thing. And then why his crystal is blue? Because everything that we've seen up to now, the Quincy's use a lot of blue reishi energy. So can the Quincy's have a relationship to the king? Because if he's considered like the god, we would accept that he's Shimigami, Hollow. I think the Soul King is probably everything, and everything derived from him. So that would be pretty cool if I'm right.
That's why they made you a lieutenant. You guessed it. That's the whole purpose of this exercise.
So is she like you remember that character in Dragon Ball Z? When she gets mad, her hair turns orange or yellow. She reminds me of that. So after eating or using so many energy, she lose weight.
Yep, that's right. What we're doing here.
Wait a second, who are you?
Huh? Oh, I always use up a lot of my spiritual pressure whenever I cook. By the time I'm done cooking, I'm just a...
In that palace, you will have Oetsuni Maya.
So she said when she cooks so much, she literally lose weight. So she gets to her like former self. But she said that you guys have to be careful, because the next palace is Oetsunomaya, which I'm depicting is the guy with the mohawk, which I really like his attitude so far. But he didn't say that much when they got to the Soul Society. He was probably the one that was very quiet.
To deal with. The man who created
Zanpakuto.
Yo, do you know what this means, guys? We're getting revelations of, like I said in my previous video, it seems like each of the royal guards created or pioneered something that not only contribute, but they're like, you could see them as like the five kages of their respective regions that created the Bleach world alongside the Soul King. That's what I see it, because it seems like they're much older than everybody else, but they look so young. Especially if they say this guy is the one that created the Zanpakutos, do you know how old he has to be? Like, what year or what era did the swords got created? That's a lot of questions that's bringing up right now. It's like, do he create them and then bring them down, or like he creates them and then based on the training the sword is chosen and it goes down to the Soul Society? That's very interesting. So guys, this was episode 9, the drop. This was a very interesting episode. I think that we got a lot here. We saw Hikifune basically, feeding Ichigo and Renji, and Kon. She is the progenitor of mod souls. She created the mod souls by making sure that when it's time for the Shinigamis to fight, the mod soul basically replace the connection between them two, and that way the body of the actual Shinigami is safe, whereas the Gigai, which is what she said is like the temporal soul that switch with you when it's time for you to like go in battle. So she pioneered that, which is pretty amazing. That means she was a scientist too, like Urahara and Mayuri. That's pretty tough though. But it also says Miss Senji Maru, the one with the Sejin. I call her Sejin Senji Maru because she has these golden arms. But they say that she was a and I want to know what's her relationship with Mayuri too. That's gonna be interesting. But this is a very good episode, and we got a big revelation on this episode. So Captain Unohana is not just a healer; she was the first Kenpachi, and I'm guessing each Kenpachi has a designated responsibility or ability that makes them who they are. Now, the fact that she's the OG one, I wonder what is her ability, because the only thing that we've seen from her is Kido. She's a master of Kido, and her Bunkai or Shika is called Minazuki, which is the giant stingray that could heal with its acid on its stomach. It's similar to like Katsuyu, Lady Tsunade's slug. I wonder what she's able to do. And the fact that she's gonna be the one training Kenpachi, that is some insane shit. Oh man. This is some insane stuff. So we're gonna stop it here, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Our goal for the 2024, definitely this is a goal. We're almost there. I know we could make it there. We at 733 subscribers. Let us make it to 1,000 subscribers before this year ends, or even higher. My goal is definitely hitting 1,000 subscribers by the end of February. That would mean so much to me. That way I could put out more videos, and that would be amazing. That would mean a lot to me. Like I said, I'll see you guys on episode 10, and the episode 10 is titled The Bottle, and I cannot wait to see that, because I'm in hype. What Unohana could do, and Kenpachi's coming in blindly, I think, because this is gonna be the first time we're gonna see Unohana fought, because she haven't fought anybody, but she fought a lot of people in the past. She aided Captain Yamamoto during the part where she had to versus the Quincy's. That was a 1,000 years ago. So can't wait to see what's gonna happen. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.